there were a lot of these like miracle experiences in my life that sort of like created an anchor, something that I paid attention to, something that I wanted to really understand. How did I make that happen? What was involved in making those experiences happen? And can I scientifically prove it? Can I find the sciences that actually says this is true? And can I repeat it at will? And then the opposite things were happening in my life, and a lot of abuse. And I was attracting a lot of problems in my life. So I had that balance going on. And there's definite patterns of abuse. My grandparents had it, my parents had it, I had it, and I started seeing it repeat in my own kids. And the driving force to try and find that out was to make sure that my kids don't fall into that same pattern. So I was also studying that end of why we attract problems, and how can I attract these miracles. So I had these two things going on that made me, my driving force, my purpose was to try and unfold, okay, what's really going on. A lot of what I'm seeing is definitely caused by the way we globally think, how we interpret ourselves, um, and connected with ourselves socially. So I could see that my purpose, or where the bigger picture is, to make sure that my kids don't fall into the same pattern, is by we need to make a global change, because I had very, very little influence on my own kids, and they were greatly influenced by other sources. So it's how we influence each other that really needs to change. And right now we're doing everything wrong. And it's not about pushing our ideas on other people. A lot of people did that to me, and a lot of people have the suggestion of what is my solution. And it's like, I know my own solution. I just lack the ability of communicating that effectively with other people so that I would be perfectly aligned with them. But that's not necessarily true. If I rely on other people to give me what it is I want, then I'm out of control, because I think I need to control everybody else. But that is not true, because I didn't control anybody else when I was attracting these miracle experiences. I just believed in the attraction of that. So here is what I ended up discovering. And when I kind of lost my mind, um, it's like, if you feel like you're losing your mind, it's like that's a good thing, because you're about to find your mind. And here's the process: is you have to control what it is you think about, and you have to understand that everything in your reality, every commercial, every product, every conversation, they're nothing but suggestions and associations. Everybody's doing it to everybody else, and you're getting caught up in all of that. So you need to make your own suggestions. You need to make your own associations with stuff, and you need to control what it is you think about. So what I did is I paid attention to what was it that I was really feeling when I was making these um, um, miracles happen. And I felt a sense of prosperity and abundance. I just felt like it was coming to me. I deserved it. The feelings of being prosperous, and it was coming without doubt. Everybody else was calling me crazy. Everybody else, the whole world alignment was against me in whatever it is I put out into the world that says I'm going to attract that. So if you buy into the suggestions and associations of other people that say it's impossible, then you end up creating what everybody else wants, because you're creating doubt. But if you have a really, really strong belief in yourself, a strong feeling, and it's all feelings. So you have to kind of remember, when was it that I felt prosperous? When was it that I felt abundant? And try and remember what that felt like. Because what's going on is your brain is a perfect drugstore. It makes the chemicals that you need to experience the feelings that you want to make. It's like if you have some alcohol, alcohol changes the way you feel. If you take a pill or a drug, it changes the way you feel. So you have to sort of get in touch with your brain and make the chemicals you want to make. So feeling abundant and prosperity is the feeling, the drug you need to make in your own brain. How do you make it? You have to remember what it felt like in your life, and then try and use that as an anchor. Try to remember what that felt like, and then you got to try and feel that as often as possible. If you sat there and just meditated 24/7 on just that one feeling, then you are forcing your brain to make that chemical. And then if you make that chemical often enough, then your brain starts to be addicted to that chemical and will naturally make that chemical without any effort for you at all. So you have to develop the addiction of that chemical in the same way that you would get addicted to any type of drug. You have to make the association that it's going to be something good for you, and then you actually have to feel how good it feels like while you're making that drug, and then as soon as you make it, it feels so damn good that you're going to want to make it all the time. But you have a lot of neural nets in your mind, and there's a lot of other things that are going on that detract you from doing that. So you need to have some kind of message that is in your reality that will constantly interrupt your brain to make you remember that, oh, this is what I want to focus on. So that interruption that I used was my drinking water. We as humans all drink water. We all need water. And part of my problem was is I was never drinking anything. I would not drink water. I would not drink um, milk. For some reason, I just could not put liquids in my body. So I ended up having, in order to improve my health, I ended up having to really pay attention to my water intake. And what I ended up doing was using water bottles, and I would refill them. I would just use tap water, and I would refill it every day, and pay attention that this is how much water I did drink during the day. So I knew that was my tool to make sure that I was drinking every day. I had to really intentionally monitor my water intake. So I figured if I was monitoring my water intake that much, that I would put messages on my water. And there is, if you look at a film, What the Bleep Do You Know, there's a guy, Dr. Emoto, that does say the molecular structure of water has changed if you put different messages on the water. Now, you can put, abundance and prosperity on a bottle of water and change the molecular structure. But the thing is as soon as it goes in your mouth, if your brain says I'm lacking abundance and prosperity, it will change the molecular structure in your brain in the water that you're drinking. So it's not like if you're going to drink that water, it's just going to magically do something to you. No, it's the suggestion, it's the associations that you have with it that sort of reprogram your brain that will end up creating the molecular structure in your body, because you are mostly all water. So you have to be in control of it. Now there are 6 different intentions that I felt when I was creating these miracles, and it's only one aspect. You can't just focus on the positive when there's a negative going on. So the problem is definitely twofold, but I'm going to focus on the positive first. Focus on the positive types of reprogramming you need to do with your brain. Another one was gratitude and humanity. I noticed that anytime good things were happening in my life, I wouldn't even notice them. It's the time that you sort of take for granted things, and you can say life is hell, and it's like, is it really hell? And it's because you're not having a sense of gratitude for the things that do show up when they do show up. So gratitude and humanity is the chemical feelings that you need to feel. Again, it's the same thing. Work on your brain and trying to remember, what did it feel like when you felt grateful for something, and put those words on your bottle. And like I use 500 milliliter bottles, and six of them, and I try and drink from all. I finish drinking from all six bottles. That's like my medicine every day. I'll continue on another day.